Hey, everybody, call the meeting to order. It is Thursday, August 8th, 2024. And in attendance, we have Vicki Rosenberg on Zoom, Peg Gilday, Stan Steiner, and myself, Lisa McGee, here in person on behalf of the board. And we have Diana Peck with the Library Foundation and Friends. And we have Lindsay, Chris, Rick, and Stella on staff. So thanks for being here. Let's see. Do I have a motion to adopt this morning's agenda?
So moved.
Okay, second.
Second.
Thanks, Stan. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, great. So let's move on to the approval of minutes. We have two sets. We have June 26th and July 11th. Well, I guess we could do that in discussion if there are some irregularities, but I will move to approve the minutes. Second, the second, Peg. Okay, any discussion about either one of those?
No.
They looked good to me too. Thank you, Lindsay, for taking such good notes. Great. Vicki, anything from you?
No, things
Okay,
look
great.
good.
Great. All in favor then of approving the minutes?
Aye.
Great, none opposed. We have one item of correspondence this week, sort of exciting. Not sure we've ever had correspondence since I've been board chair. So it is a letter from the START director in response to the great letter that Mary Lee and Kip worked on to talk about START bus routes and stops. And as Bruce Abel, the transit director, said in his letter, they are going to be evaluating the current routes and developing a 5-year plan, and they will take our suggestions into consideration. So seems like a good open communication there. And again, thanks to Mary Lee for taking such a proactive role. It doesn't seem like we have any public in attendance on Zoom and not in the room. We do not. Okay. Let's move on then to the consent agenda. Stella, can I hand it over to you for your report?
Sure. So I have a few things I'd like to mention to you all. First being this morning, I did receive from the county clerk's office the July warrant register. And I was going to print it out and bring it to you all in case you wanted to see it. And I realized I left it at the printer.
Okay.
But if anybody wants to see that, and then that will be posted with the October board packet. But in the meantime, it is now available. The other thing to note is we are in the final stages of closing out fiscal year 24. So in my narrative, excuse me, I wrote that to the county, all departments have to have any fiscal 24 documents in by August 16th. Because our board meeting is today, I did request all staff to have any fiscal 24 documents in by last Friday. So this month is the last month that you will be seeing any vouchers with any fiscal 24 expenditures. And so going forward now, we're strictly living in fiscal 25 in terms of accounts payables and receivables.
Mm-hmm.
So to that end, the June financial documents, because the county, we still don't have everything from fiscal 24. The documents that you see for June are not 100% accurate in that there could be additional expenditures related there, as well as a few items of revenue, miscellaneous library revenue. So those documents will be forthcoming. The county does they're currently starting, I believe, their annual audit process, which usually runs from like September to October roughly. So then they have all of their final documents in by November. So just know that we're turning everything into the county for fiscal 24 as of today, assuming the vouchers get approved. But those documents, we won't see the final numbers until a few months from now. So that's one thing I wanted to note. I also wanted to note on your document that's on deposit with the Wyoming State Library. So they completely closed out, the Wyoming State Library closed out fiscal 24. And what they did was they moved some of our funds from the book and media accounts into what's called our general account. So that's why the general account number looks much higher than it has in the past, where before it was like $1,200 or so, something around there. And also today, one of the vouchers that we are submitting is also to pull some money from fiscal 24 from the collections budget. There was some overages, in the subscriptions account. And so we're pulling about $18,000 from there and gonna send that over to the Wyoming State Library Central Acquisitions account. And then the other thing I wanted to highlight in my staff report, I mentioned that we're going to have 2 future expenses that we're going to be bringing to you in October. Because next month is a voucher meeting, we won't be bringing that to you next month. But both of those expenses, we're planning on requesting that we use capital reserve funds for those expenses. I'm not going to go into much detail because you'll be giving a staff report from Rick in October. But basically, all of our security cameras are at end of life. So we do need to replace those. We also had one that was knocked out when we had a bad windstorm last year. It was knocked out by a tree in the yard. So that needs to be replaced, but overall, all the cameras need to be replaced. Also, we're on a much older system, whereas nowadays, you can view the cameras. There's apps you can use on your phone. Right now, we're at a stationary point where the only way to view the cameras live is there is a computer that lives in the facility's office. And that's the only location that we have currently. So we do need to update that. The other future expense we're going to bring to you in October will be a request. There's some of our doors that we need to replace for security reasons. We need to replace the access, so we're going to be requesting to replace an access to either a pin pad, or it's also, these doors will also work with like a security card swipe. So that number is not finalized because the proposal the number that I wrote on my narrative, the proposal that we received is actually for more doors than probably what we're going to request to do. So that number should most likely go down from what it's in. I was just kind of giving you a heads up and just letting you know approximately what price points we're going to be looking at. So, so I think that's pretty much all that I wanted to highlight. Any questions?
No.
Great stuff. Thanks, and thanks for just keeping us posted on the moving pieces with respect to end of fiscal year and county and library, and all of it seems a little complicated. So thanks for that. Hearing nothing else, I will move to approve the August 2024 consent agenda. I have a second.
Second.
Any further discussion? All right, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
And none opposed. Thank you. Welcome, Eva. I'm glad you could join us. Okay, so Kip is not with us this morning in person, but he had a great monthly report. Stella, I don't know if he asked you to highlight anything on that report.
Unfortunately, at the moment, I'm having technical difficulties pulling up any of my documents.
Understood.
But I would like to highlight, we do have 2 staff in our circulation department who are going to be leaving this month. Yeah. And so I'm sure Kip would like me to thank them for their service. One is Olivia Hackett. Olivia has been with us well over a year, maybe even a couple years now. Olivia is a silversmith by trade, and so she's had a great opportunity to have her own studio And so she's making a go of it as an artist who's going to be a working artist. So we'd like to thank her for her service. And then Karen Challey. Karen Challey has been with us for a while. She was with us previously, and then she's also an artist. She has been offered a full-time job with the Museum of Wildlife Art, so she's still gonna be in town, and she's gonna go take a full-time position because her position is currently part-time. So I think that's two things from this report I'd like to just highlight.
Thanks, and on behalf of the board, yeah, thanks to both of them. Okay, did anybody have anything from Kip's report that you wanted to discuss this morning?
That was pretty thorough.
I always love reading his reports because they are so thorough.
Agreed, yeah.
And if I may add something, I just remembered. There was a photo I put in my report for the admin team. There was a photo I put in there of the solar table that's outside that was purchased, thank you to the Foundation and Friends. The solar table is getting a great amount of use every day, but somehow in the electronic world, the photo moved down into the adult services area. So if it looks askew, that's what happened there.
Yeah.
And then also one other thing, because July was a special meeting, that's why Kip's report is also reflecting June as well as July. So
Yeah.
Well, Rick, I'm glad you're here. I noticed a few public comments as we anticipated, just about the disappointment that the fence is now gone. And if people ask, part of the space sort of redesign, will we be looking at that area for potential new fence? But we're not
Yes.
doing anything until after that study?
Correct.
Okay,
Yeah, and I'm happy to answer any other questions on the space planning exercise, if anybody's curious. It was a good couple of days.
sounds like
But
it, yeah.
the idea is that that will be looked at. I think on the fence, I was kind of thinking too, is there some simple message to the public?
Right.
About it.
Like why we took, I mean, it was a very
Exactly.
good reason why we took it down. It wasn't arbitrary. And we recognize it's a really great space that probably warrants a fence in the future. So that is I don't know if we wanna ask Diana or,
Yeah, I think just even if as a board member to have the right response or a staff, a consistent response, because the concern for me is that they were related mostly to safety.
right,
And so we just want to be sensitive to that.
So we're on the fence with any decision.
All fun intended, yes. Yeah, it's to be determined, so whatever space planning comes up, but the existing one was deteriorated, unrepairable, and dangerous. Also, technically, a fire hazard that connected to our facilities.
right.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay, thanks. All right, so Diana, you are up. Thank you for your great report.
You're welcome. Really, I have nothing extra besides what was in the report. We're super excited about just the robust ask from the library for this fiscal year. As you can see from the numbers we submitted to you, that it pretty much doubled, almost doubled from last year, and with a lot of great new initiatives that we're very excited about. And so I wanted to share that with you. And then thought you might enjoy seeing the approved funding request for fiscal year 25. So we included the line items in worksheets, and then we also added a narrative that we provide to our board for any new or significant programs that they would like more information on that are they made during the course of consideration. And so we provided that to you as well. That is the approved request that you're looking at there for fiscal year 25. Again, a nice robust number. We're excited about not only the success of the new initiatives like the brainstorm series that will continue and in fact have grown in their ask, but also some of the many beloved programs have been going on for years that that we know are successful, and it's really exciting. So I wanted to share that with you and also point out We are having, and many of you have already applied, if not all of you, but I wanted to make sure. Did you all receive our invitation? Okay, great. So we are doing, we thought we would do a kind of an end of the year celebration for the end of fiscal year 24 and kicking off the new fiscal year 25. And we wanted to include our library support partners and talking about just, just get excited about the coming year and all the things that are happening at the library that we're excited about. And then just a chance for us to connect and just bond as friends. And so we hope you all will be able to attend. I think most of you have already said yes, so that's exciting. And then that's it, to let you know that we're working on trying to get an annual report that we're again co-creating with the library, with Diana Eden. That's going to be hopefully wrapped up by the end of this week. And early next, and then we'll get that out for distribution soon.
It's been great. So, look forward to seeing this year's. Any questions for Diana? Well, I look forward to joining you all next week. Is it next week?
I'm
Yeah.
coming too, Lisa. That's a beautiful space on the rooftop terrace.
I know, I haven't been yet. Oh, good. Okay, great. All right, we have a couple reports about sort of building infrastructure, both staff chairs and the building automation upgrade. So is that you, Rick?
It's me.
All right, thanks.
All right, so we have a staff report for building automation upgrade. And this is for consideration of upgrading the automated control system for our HVAC. Background, the existing system is antiquated. It also doesn't have network security features that we need to be compatible with our network. And then there are some operational features that may fail, resulting in that. And we want to avoid damage to mechanical systems or disruption to service. Stakeholder analysis is that information technology staff and maintenance staff, along with Long Technologies, who's our support for automation, we're going to require an upgrade to protect our network mechanical systems and avoid disruptions. Funding would come from capital reserve in the amount of $10,425. As far as impact for our staff, library, information technology, and facilities maintenance will coordinate the work with the contractor to schedule and manage the project. Legal review is not applicable, and our recommendation is to enter into the agreement with Long Building Technologies to upgrade the building automation system supervisor software to the Niagara 4 N4 platform. The suggested motion is to approve entering into an agreement with Long Technologies to upgrade the building automation in the amount of $10,425 with funding coming from capital reserves.
Thank you. Any questions? Okay. Well, then I will echo your motion, Rick, and move that the board authorize an expenditure of $10,425 from capital reserve funds for the building automation upgrade as presented this morning and in the report.
I'll second it.
All right, any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
None opposed. Okay, talk to us about staff chairs.
Okay, office chair replacement. So considering entering into an agreement with ER Office Express to procure, assemble, deliver, and provide the chairs with 5-year warranty. It's 39 new chairs that we'll be getting. All staff that has an office workstation, and then chairs at each of the service desks are included in this project. As a background, the chairs throughout the library are in poor condition and need replacement. Repairing is not really much of an option anymore. We received several sample chairs, narrowed them down to a couple, and then we allowed staff to try them out, decide what they like. So we got a count in that fashion. As far as fiscal impact, we're looking at capital reserves in the amount of $8,465. Impact to our staff would be that, facilities maintenance will coordinate with the contractor to schedule and manage this project. Our recommendation is to go with ER Office Express, and the motion is to enter into an agreement with ER Office Express to purchase new office chairs in the amount of $8,465 with funding coming from capital reserves.
Any questions?
I do. How old are the chairs that are? Are they from the remodel? I'm just roughly 10 years old?
There's some that I think came from before the remodel, some during the remodel, and some after the remodel, so it's a real hodgepodge of stuff. Several of our chairs have come from adopting them from other county departments who were getting rid of their chairs to get new ones. And we've exhausted those resources.
Yeah, my only concern when I did the number, knowing enough about office chairs, is they're only coming in at about $220 a chair, which is not a big price. It's actually a pretty, say, inexpensive. I just want to make sure that we're not being economical and having to replace them in 5 years ago. Again, I know 5 years will go very quickly, so I just want to know how you guys had evaluated that.
So we actually put a lot of effort into that, and really proud of the chairs we came up with and the value that those chairs are worth. So they're a high quality chair at a good value, with a great contract, or a, potentially a great contract for the ER office to procure them, receive them, build them, deliver them ready to go, so that we can make our side transition a whole lot easier. So the quality of the chairs, I feel very confident.
Great, thanks for your work on that.
Great. Well, do I have a motion then?
I move to agree to the $8,465 price of 39 new chairs
From capital reserves.
from ER Capital Reserve. Oh, yeah, from Capital Reserve from ER Office Express.
Second. Any more discussion? Will the old chairs just be like reshuffled into other county offices, or?
The process will be that once we establish, when the chairs are gonna arrive and new ones, we'll start swapping them out. We'll probably reserve this room for a couple of days where we bring the old chairs in, we make it open to the county departments to come get whatever they'd like. And then it would go to listserv, so that listserv, organizations would have the opportunity. And then after that, we would go to restore, and after that, it's.
Yeah, no, that seems like a perfect process.
So the listserv that Rick's referring to is the community foundation's nonprofit.
Yes.
listserv. So we sometimes, if we have items left over that no other county department wanted, then that's our next step, is to go there. That's great.
Great. Well, with that, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And none opposed. Thank you, Rick. Great. Eva, thanks for joining us. You want to tell us about the changing hours at the Alta branch?
Yeah, it's, well, did you all get a chance to read the report?
Yes.
Awesome. So I don't have to go through all the background. It was kind of a lot. That was probably the hardest part of the report, was pulling all of the information. But I have been feeling really confident about, we are getting more individuals coming to the branch, which is great. And we have staffing, which is always kind of what hold us back. We typically, during the school year, still have school come before we're open, and it's usually that between 10 and noon on Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday. So it really, I think, behooves us to just have those hours be open, and we have staffing that can do that. And also, I mean, the kids will come regardless, but I think it's great to see that, no, it's a public library and anybody can be there. It is for 6 additional hours. So Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, we typically open at noon. Wanting to open at 10. And also, that means that every day we're open at the same time. which is for those people who. It seems that they're always like, I'm confused, right, it's a 10, is it?
Yeah.
It's our Friday and Saturday we open at 10 or something. Any questions?
Actually, I was a little confused. I see what the request is for the added hours. So what are your Monday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday hours?
So Sunday, Monday, we're closed,
Okay,
and Friday, Saturday is 10 to 4.
great, thank you.
Yeah, I realized that that wasn't in there.
Yeah, and I don't use that library, so thank you, that helps.
Yeah.
Perfect,
Great.
that's exciting.
Yeah, I think it's really an exciting trend. Yeah, so, great, well, let's see, do I have a motion then?
I move that the board adopt the new Elton Branch hours as presented in the staff report with an effective date of September 1st, 2020.
I second. Any more discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Great, thank you, Eva.
Now, sorry, I'm gonna go.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming, Eva.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chris.
Thanks for.
Thank you. Okay, so moving on then to fiscal year 25 capital reserve fund allocation. Stella, anything else, Stella?
Sure. So there is a staff report that was written and submitted by Kip. Basically, for several years now, when we've done our budget proposal, we've asked to have money set aside to fund the capital reserve fund, which is my understanding, when Deb Adams was here as an interim director, she started doing that because she realized that for several years prior, there had been no funding to capital reserves. And so Kip and I have just continued on that. As you can see, we've just brought you 2 big projects, and we're also saying we're going to bring you some more projects in October. We have 2 facilities, so it's just really vital that we continue to fund this reserve fund. So we are requesting to move 150,000 into the capital reserve fund. That's basically the request that we're asking of the board. And to be clear, this was an account that was allocated in the budget proposal for fiscal 25.
No, it makes total sense to me, and I know it's something we do annually. So, yeah, thanks for the context. Any questions? Especially
Just
this year.
Big picture, there's about 1.9 in the capital reserve.
Correct.
Okay, and so then this would be added, we have a next item coming up, and then we add some expense. I'm just trying to get the big picture.
Yeah.
Big expenses coming
Yeah.
in, so, well, I've worked on other boards that don't have capital reserve funds, and it is a nightmare, so that's really true.
And you may recall that for both facilities, we did go through a process with Bureau Veritas, I believe was the name of the company, that evaluated both facilities and did like a long-term, here's when you're going to expect to need to replace the roof, et cetera, et cetera. So this is part of keeping that in mind of these long-term, long-range projects that we know will eventually be coming in, right? Aside from anything, hopefully we don't have any emergency projects, but, yeah.
And the space reconsideration, that funding, I believe, is also coming out of the capital.
So
Or
the
not?
funding for the consultants,
Yes.
then the second phase of the project will be whatever they propose as an implementation phase. So some of that may come out of, we may request some of that would come out of capital reserves. We may request that, we might ask the Foundation of Friends, depending upon what is the decision that we want to implement. There may be some things that would be appropriate to ask the Foundation of Friends. There may be some things that would not be appropriate to ask of the nonprofit, and that would need to be more practically coming out of the library operating budget. So that's a no yet until we get through the whole space planning process and then see what the recommendations are.
That makes sense. And you anticipate that some projects might happen sooner than others.
Yes.
Yeah.
I just want to add that they are looking at the project as kind of, low, medium, high in terms of cost impact. It won't just be one simple solution. And so I think everyone will have to work together to evaluate the needs and the costs and the value. So
That makes sense. No. Okay, any other questions, comments? Great, then I move to approve the allocation of $150,000 to the Library Capital Reserve Fund from the Library County Reimbursed Operations Account as approved in the fiscal year 25 budget. I have a second.
I second.
Vicky, any more discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
No opposed. Thank you. All right, well, this is fun news. Tell us about all the interest we earned.
So
I mean, that does seem like an eye-popping number to me.
yes, one of the benefits when we moved over to fully be with accounting for accounting purposes. We immediately saw a huge increase in our monthly interest income. And every year we've just seen a great amount of growth of interest income. So for fiscal 25, just looking at the report, we grossed $123,447.37. I did recently verify with one of the clerks in the county treasury. Yes, this is the amount that we did generate or that was allocated to the library in terms of the overall county pot of interest income. So our request is to move this funds over into the capital reserve fund. So again, just enabling that we have reserves for a rainy day and for all the projects that we know need to create.
And how is that fund earning interest?
So I know there's a variety of CDs that the treasurer has. I don't know specific names off the top of my head, but I do know that funds are in several different funding accounts, so CDs, and I don't know what other types. I don't know what if she's got some of it in like the interest savings account or so forth, but I know that there's several different pools that the money is generated from. So.
Stella, is that the earned interest on that amount? I presume it's in the general fund.
The general fund, yeah, so this is just. I don't know what formula the treasurer's department uses to determine which departments. Get what amount out of the overall pot. But this is the amount that's determined for the library that we received in fiscal year 24.
Okay. Oh, so the county general fund is being shared, the interest on that is being shared out to the various departments?
Yes.
Okay.
Do I have a motion, Vern?
I actually think it's surprising that they divvy it out and just instead of just pulling it back into their.
They did used to pull it back. I know that. That's why I asked the question. This must be new.
And to that end, I don't know if there's something about us with some of the specifics that we have being the library, the way the library functions versus some of the other county entities, be it as well, that they don't just. So.
You know, we should put it in minutes. Keep it a secret.
I do believe that it's somewhat of my understanding that if it is just left, that yes, then potentially, I think that it could be used elsewhere if that funding.
I move to approve the transfer of 123,447 to the Library Capital Reserve Fund from the Library County Reimbursement Operations Interest Income Account.
Thank you. No. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thanks, Peg. Any more discussion? All in favor? Aye. None opposed. Thank you. All right. There are two matters that I'll talk about from the board standpoint and then open it up if there are others. But we just wanted to make an official statement of our condolences to Sean Klum parents' family. Sean was a board member for several years, I know, especially during COVID, and served the library with passion and enthusiasm and dedication. And we know he had been fighting cancer for many years. And I'll just say how sorry we are for his family, that we will miss him. And on behalf of the board, we're putting a little gift and card together.
Where are we in that process?
So that was going to be, Kip did ask me to discuss that with you all. I don't know if you to discuss that here.
Sure.
So the family did release a obituary that's, you know, in the Wednesday paper, as well as I saw something from the funeral home Tuesday night. Some of the ideas that we had were possibly to get them like a gift card to a grocery store or something to just sustain them. But in the obituary, I was telling Kip the other day, I noticed that there's a mention of the fact that the family would like to do some sort of bench on the pathway system. So I was mentioning to Kip, maybe that's, of course, where the donation could go. That seems like that would be a much longer term gift. So
Sure.
and I know, I think some staff are also who knew Sean's wife, Julie, as some of you may know, was a longtime employee here at the library as well. And their children, Birch and Axel, who are now college aged, you know, grew up using this library. So some staff remember them. I certainly remember that they were toddlers. So some staff are also contributing to a gift. So, but in terms of where we're at, in terms of where that amount is, I don't know.
Yeah, we're concerned about that card, but it sounds like we have some time. And I did not read the obituary. Is there going to be a service?
I think it said spring of 2025, but and we do have a card here in the library that I can bring if anyone to. I should have thought to bring that here to the meeting. I'm sorry about that.
Back to your office. I mean, if it's a gift of money, then the family can decide how they want to.
Exactly.
So I feel like we don't need to earmark it, just
Yeah.
give it and however they feel like it's best used.
Yeah,
Would agree.
So Mary Lee and I think, or maybe it was Vicky and I feel like a couple of us already gave a donation to Kip by Venmo.
I did.
We all did. Okay, so I think on the board side, we're good on that one piece. And then if any of us want to sign the card, we can come to your office.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I know Sean was a runner, and so I think a bench on the pathway would be really nice. Okay, and then the other announcement from matters from the board is just the quarterly report to the county commissioners that Kip and I submitted. Thanks, Vicky, for attending the last meeting. They're usually very quick updates, we assume that the commissioners read the reports. And it was clear that Luther at least had, and they acknowledged the good work that was happening. In that report, we also just celebrated that Kip had a work anniversary and how grateful we are to him for the great job that he does. So, we'll continue to do those quarterly. And I think that it's a nice way just to, stay on their radar, give some updates. All right, so the last item on the agenda is payment of library vouchers.
I have one question. I'm confused about the June warrant register. Is that the correct report?
Yes, so actually what we would have had both the June and the July. So because last month, July was a special meeting, we didn't have any of the financials attached to that meeting. So that's why we have the June register. And then this morning, I just received the July. That's why it wasn't posted yet. So I didn't have a chance right before the meeting to post the July because that just came into my email this morning.
Okay, it just seemed like a low amount. It says MasterCard and 10,000. Maybe I'm reading it incorrectly. They're very strange.
I agree.
It says MasterCard 10,366, and I thought our last,
Oh, okay, I'm realizing, so we had this, in June, we had this special meeting
Right.
got it.
for the MasterCards, and I'm realizing now that only.
We're missing another.
You're missing the
Thank you.
overall, which was more of the regular expenses. My apologies for that. I
Okay.
didn't link that
That makes
properly.
more sense. So maybe just pop that one.
Yes, and I apologize for that.
That's okay. Okay, now that makes. Yeah, I forgot. We did the credit card things.
This
Okay.
was a special.
Thank you.
We moved our whole meeting time.
That's right.
Because of that.
And causing other problems with the county reports, not making it time for our board meeting, but we're getting there. Yeah. I know that's been something, so I hope this all gets resolved. Great.
All right, anything to note from the signing of vouchers? If not, do I have a motion?
I move to approve the payment of library vouchers in the amount of $98,714.66. Another comment I have is very exciting reviewing those vouchers.
I second Peg's motion.
Okay, great. Any more discussion? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, well, that is it. I will make a motion to adjourn today's meeting unless there are any other announcements or comments. All right, do I have a second?
Second.
All right, all in favor of adjourning?
Aye.
Aye. None opposed. All right, thanks, everybody. Diana,
Thank you,
appreciate
everybody.
guys. Have a great day, guys.
You too. Thanks for the